On a warm summer morning in 1954, when a seemingly ordinary businessman stepped off a plane at Tokyo's Haneda Airport, he looked confident, calm, and very much like any frequent traveler of the era. His dark gray suit was perfectly pressed, his leather briefcase neatly organized, and his demeanor polite and collected. Nothing about him suggested he was about to spark one of the most bizarre encounters the immigration officers had ever faced. When he handed his passport to the customs officer, he did so with the casual familiarity of someone who had traveled internationally many times before. Yet the officer's expression changed almost immediately. The passport was impeccably crafted, filled with stamps from various countries across Europe, and showed signs of real, long-term use. But it came from a nation that simply did not exist anywhere on Earth, a country called Taured. The traveler did not seem to understand why the officials hesitated. When they asked where Taured was located, he explained, calmly, even slightly offended, that it was a small European nation situated between France and Spain. To prove it, he traced a finger along the map provided by the officers. Instead of Taured, the map showed only Andorra. The man frowned, genuinely confused. He insisted that Taured had stood for more than 1,000 years, and that he himself had traveled to Japan multiple times in recent years on business. His confidence was unwavering, and his confusion seemed sincere rather than manufactured. The customs officers, now deeply unsettled, brought him into a private room for further questioning. Hours passed as officials examined every document the man carried. He had a driver's license from Taured, corporate identification for a company no one had heard of, and bank documents that appeared to be issued by a financial institution unknown in any world registry. The materials, stamps, ink, and paper quality were all consistent with authentic documents used in Europe during that period. Nothing seemed forged. Yet the details were impossible. When officers contacted the company he said he worked for, they found no record of him. When they reached out to the hotel he claimed he had booked, they learned the reservation had been mysteriously canceled that very morning. The man himself remained cooperative, though increasingly distressed. What concerned him was not that the officials didn't recognize his nation. It was that their world map didn't match the geography he had always known. He insisted repeatedly that their world was the one in error. Because his identity could not be verified, and his origin could not be confirmed, authorities placed him under temporary detention. Rather than a jail cell, he was assigned to a guarded hotel room several floors above the ground. 2 immigration officers were posted outside his door all night, instructed not to let him leave under any circumstances. By this time, multiple government departments were involved, and an investigation was underway to determine whether the man was some kind of sophisticated criminal, a spy, or something far stranger. The traveler, for his part, remained calm and cooperative. He ate dinner, thanked the guards, and went to bed. It was the last time anyone ever saw him. When officials returned the next morning to continue questioning, the room was empty. The bed had been slept in, but the man was gone. His passport, documents, and personal belongings had vanished with him. The window remained locked from the inside, and the height made escape impossible. The guards outside the door reported that no one had entered or left during the night. Yet the room was completely empty, as though the man had never been there at all. Authorities searched the entire building, then the surrounding streets, then the airport itself. They found nothing. It was as if the traveler had dissolved into thin air. The investigation continued for weeks, then quietly faded away when every lead collapsed. European governments reported no country named Taured in any era. No one had heard of the man. No bank or business he mentioned had ever existed. His documents, once so perplexingly detailed, were gone. All that remained were the confused testimonies of the officials who had questioned him. Some tried to explain the event as an elaborate hoax, though no one could determine who would go to such lengths or why. Others guessed espionage, though no spy would ever use a passport designed to attract maximum attention. A few suggested deception or mental illness, but the man's consistent knowledge and calm demeanor contradicted such ideas. Over time, the story slipped into the realm of whispered folklore and strange history archives. But the details were never fully dismissed, because too many eyewitnesses maintained that the event had truly happened. As years passed, more speculative theories emerged. Some believed the man had come from an alternate universe, one almost identical to ours, except for the existence of Taured. Perhaps, they suggested, he had accidentally crossed into our reality and, upon discovering the discrepancy, slipped back into his own. Others imagined he was caught in a glitch of time or part of a classified government experiment. These explanations sound fantastical, but in the absence of conventional answers, they linger. What made the case endure was not merely the strangeness of the documents or the impossibility of the escape. It was the man's certainty. He believed in Taured as firmly as we believe in the countries on our maps. To him, Japan was a familiar place he had visited many times, and his life in Taured was as real as any of ours. His sudden appearance and disappearance remain unexplained, leaving behind a question that continues to disturb anyone who encounters the story. If he truly did not belong to our world, how many others might cross the borders between realities without ever being noticed? Decades later, the case is still debated. Some dismiss it outright. Others study it as evidence of alternate dimensions. Most people encounter it as a strange footnote in modern folklore. But for those who believe the officials who witnessed it, one truth remains clear. A man arrived in Tokyo one morning from a place that does not exist, and by the next day, he was gone, without a trace. It is a mystery that challenges not only our understanding of history, but the very structure of reality itself.